Hey Downers! From now till the end of the year, you can join the Downers Club and support the show for as little as $1 a month. As a club member, you'll get all of the bonus episodes that we do every single week and access to our exclusive Downers Club Facebook group. This is a limited time offer, so get in there before 2018 and check out all the fun we're having for just $1. For more information, check out tsidpod.com/support. The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Welcome to the System is Down.
What's up, Downers? Welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web, The System is Down. My name is Dan Smots, and today's episode is my discussion with the 2016 vice presidential candidate, Judd Weiss, who ran alongside John McAfee in the Libertarian Party. Judd and I had a great conversation about his time in politics, his art, and what he thinks is missing from politics in general. We also recorded a bonus segment where Judd answered your questions that you asked on the TSID forum, and he tried to convince me to do drugs. So if you want to check that out, as you heard at the beginning of the show, membership to the Downers Club is currently on sale for only $1 a month, which that'll be going on up until the end of the year. And my bonus episode with Judd will be coming out this Wednesday. Craig and I also do a weekly behind-the-scenes episode where we talk about things that are going on in our life, things that are going on in the news, and whatever comes up. So right now, Downers Club members have been getting about 3 to 4 episodes a week. And right now, you can take advantage of that for just $1 a month by going to tsidpod.com/support. But enough with the commercials. Let's get weird. My guest today is artist, photographer, journalist, philanthropist, and United States vice presidential candidate in the 2016 election, the legend himself, Mr. Judd Weiss. Judd, how's it going?
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. I appreciate that kind intro.
You are quite welcome. Now, I'm sure that interviewers and podcasters such as myself use the whole vice presidential candidate thing as part of a title, a celebrity clickbait type thing. Is that like something that you're proud to have on your resume, or are you kind of sick of that being pegged as your main talking point that everybody wants to know about?
Are you kidding me? I'm extremely proud of it.
Well, good.
And it ties into what you were talking about. You said you wanted to talk about art, and yeah, I guess I do a lot of things because I'm just neurotic, and I have a lot of things on my head that I want to do, so I just do a lot of different things. It was really the fact that I have so many photos of libertarians and actually of everybody just around me.
Right.
My camera is a loaded weapon, and I shoot everyone within range. And so I'm just knocking out profile photos one after another. It's crazy, but there's over 30,000 Facebook profile photos out there that are mine.
Wow, that's awesome.
And because I've been to so many of these liberty-related events, I've been so involved, a lot of libertarians have profile photos that are mine. So many of them, in fact, that it's like almost the entire scene has all of the major players in the scene have their profile photo with my name on it.
Nice.
And that's how I got the VP slot, actually.
That's
not
cool.
kidding. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you just kind of, you obviously built the name that way, and then for those that don't know, this isn't a strictly libertarian podcast. We talk about all kinds of things. But for those that don't follow it, Judd, you were the vice presidential running mate with John McAfee for the Libertarian Party. So was his connection with you just through the photography, or did you know him before that?
Oh, no. The connection wasn't through the photography. The connection was through his campaign manager, who I knew. I know everybody that's doing anything interesting in the liberty movement and the wider liberty movement beyond the Libertarian Party or even libertarians.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people, and I knew the campaign manager. He was kind of a friend, acquaintance of mine. Mm-hmm. And I throw lots of parties at my house. I'm in Bel Air, and I have cool parties here. And sometimes they have political speakers. Sometimes they're just a Halloween party or something. Mm-hmm. But I've been known to have really cool events. And the campaign manager asked if I would host a fundraiser for McAfee. And I was like, hell the fuck yeah. I love McAfee. I'm a fan. The guy is so badass. He's a maniac.
Yeah.
but he's really interesting, and I'd love to meet him. Hell yeah, I'd love to throw a fundraiser. I hadn't even met him at that time, and so while we were talking, and I was talking to that campaign manager, the idea came up for me to run with McAfee, which blew my mind about the possibilities of that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, I'm going to have to really rise to the occasion here. But the crazy truth is that the first time I met McAfee was at my house when he announced me as his running mate.
Nice.
As unbelievable as that might be, it's the truth.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, you said that he's a maniac. I honestly didn't know anything about you, had never even heard your name, which I wasn't that big into politics before this point when I started digging into some stuff just within this last election. But I discovered you because you share. I made a little stupid meme that was just a picture of McAfee shirtless holding a shotgun or something, and it said something to the effect of, if you like Trump because he's like all these things, like an entertaining maniac, basically, then you'll like John McAfee.
Right.
Hashtag Make America Cool Again or whatever. And and yeah, you shared it, and I usually don't. I mean, it got shared by quite a few people, and I just happened to click on yours. I was like, oh, who's this guy who's sharing it? And I was like, oh, it's his vice presidential running mate. That's strange. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool meme. I liked it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you seem to be all over social media, really getting the name out there and interacting with people, which is very rare in campaigns, especially from vice presidential candidates. I mean, you rarely ever hear anything from them throughout the campaign and throughout even the aftermath if they get elected. So I thought that was very cool that you were taking a different step on it.
I think I made it clear even during the campaign that I'm not a politician. In fact, we're not politicians. That was actually the whole point of the whole thing. I have no interest in being a politician. I don't even want public office. It sounds miserable to me. that had nothing to do with why we were running. I was running because of the platform that we had to speak from. We have 50 state ballot access in the Libertarian Party. We have some money. We have some people. That doesn't mean we're going to win any elections, but it gives us a platform to speak from. And I had a message, and my message was, libertarians are lame as fuck. Boring, crusty, stale, and they're constantly doing things to appease the Nazis that determined that you must be boring, crusty, and stale in all of your messaging. And so my whole campaign was to speak to the people who are not political junkies. Because nobody likes the political junkies. Nobody likes their sensibilities. A lot of these guys should be embarrassed to walk out in public.
Right.
They're like, I was even saying I would vote for some of these guys if they would like promise to shower once this year or something. I'm not going to appeal to their sensibilities. I don't give a shit about their sensibilities. I'm speaking to the people who are not us, who are not political nerds. I'm speaking to the artists, the tastemakers, people that just like cooler stuff. If we can, because that's what the left has done, that's what other people have done. If I could sell artists, the artists can sell us.
Yeah.
If I can sell tastemakers, then the tastemakers can sell us. But if I'm going to sell to the same political junkies, so that it's like who either are already involved or most of them hate us, that's not accomplishing anything. It's the same boring tactics that have been used unsuccessfully for decades.
Right.
And I don't want us to be the same disregarded in the corner like we have been for decades. I want us to be an interesting, cool option. So it had nothing to do with running for office. I had no delusion of ever getting into the White House.
Sure. So you say that is kind of what was missing from the Libertarian Party, is the flavor. Do you feel like that's missing from politics in general? I mean, do you think that any other party is doing it?
Yeah, no, it's missing from politics in general. The only ones that actually, ironically, that did a good job of that was the Bernie crew, and it wasn't Bernie himself. It was the crowd around him. It's because there's a lot of artistic sensibilities in that ideology.
Yeah,
and so that crowd around him built a movement. Not Bernie himself. Bernie just speaking is not that interesting.
He's an elderly socialist. How interesting could he be?
He's an elderly socialist. But just even him, he's like yelling about stuff. Nobody knows what he's talking about. Most of his base doesn't even understand this stuff. But they like the movement around him, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to do something beyond what Ron Paul did. Ron Paul created a movement around him. He's a quirky old guy talking about end the Fed.
Right.
And hats off to him. Look what he accomplished. Look at the movement that built up behind his initiative.
Yeah.
It was really impressive just because he just refused to be a politician and he said whatever the fuck he wanted to say. and people felt that was refreshing. And the only person who actually did do this time was Trump.
Yeah.
Ironically, Trump said whatever the fuck he wanted to say. In fact, he wouldn't say it unless it's political suicide.
Right.
And because of that, people were excited again. Nobody was, of course, a lot of people hate him. He pissed off a lot of people. But a lot of people hate Hillary, too.
Right.
Nobody was excited about Hillary. But there were a lot of people that were very genuinely excited about Trump.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, like I said, this is the first year that I paid attention. And guess why I paid attention? Because I saw this crazy guy that everybody said there's no possible way he could win. And then he moved up and up and up. And, I mean, I don't like Trump, but I got to give him credit. He's the one who made me start paying attention to politics. And actually, he's the reason why I got into the Libertarian Party, because I started paying attention to the Republicans and the Democrats and realized that it was all shit. So I started looking for something else. So
the whole thing is that Trump, as much as like I have so many things that I can't stand. The worst is Jeff Sessions, his attorney general,
sure.
Wanting to roll back marijuana. A lot of the things he's saying about protectionism and closing down our borders, I'm not down with. I want us to have more people coming in. Yeah. I want more hands on deck. But however, I have to say that I'm really what Trump did and what he accomplished was in many respects extremely inspiring. He really bucked the trend, fuck the system. He's going to do it how he wants to do it, and he got people interested. And so McAfee, I was trying to go for something like that with him, where he's the ultimate gives no fucks candidate, more than Trump.
Right.
Like, he really doesn't give a damn.
Oh yeah, I loved watching him in debates.
Yeah, he's hilarious and he's entertaining, and I was like, guys. We don't need to start with advanced calculus. We need to teach people basic algebra, or not even that.
Yeah.
And so we need somebody interesting to do that. And these advanced theoretical mathematicians are not cutting it. Nobody's paying attention to them. Everybody's lost. Nobody understands what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. So we need somebody people actually want to pay attention to. They actually do want to pay attention to McAfee. Whether they like him or not, they're interested in what the hell this maniac's going to do next. And so at the beginning of this campaign, I had conversations with McAfee about savage is good. I don't want you to tone yourself down. I want you to be interesting and engaging. I don't want you to hold back on that.
Yeah.
But sophisticated savage, not unsophisticated savage. So think more James Bond, less Sasquatch.
There you go.
And
he'd make a great
that.
James Bond.
Yeah, I was just saying that about the mentality. This is what
yeah.
I was talking to him about, and he loved that. Mm-hmm. And that, these were the conversations that I'm having with McAfee, because he's a little rough around the edges. And when I came on board, campaign was dead. They were doing hokey stuff, like the logo was like this M16 logo, and the messaging was kind of like they were going to register uninstallthesystem.com. That was what the campaign manager wanted to do. Yeah. And I'm like, I came in and I just changed everything. And he let me have the reins. New logo, new image, new slogan, let life live.
Yeah, dude. I watched it happen in real time. It was awesome to see the complete turnaround that you did. And your campaign videos, the Vote Different, the Be Libertarian, Let Life Live stuff, like those videos, I watched them again. I rewatched them today. I watched them during the campaign. Watched them again today, and it's like these videos are inspiring. And first, they're not just like shoving politics in your face. You watch it, and you're like, "Oh, where are they going with this? This is inspiring. This moves me." And then, "Oh, this is politics? Are you kidding me?" Like that's not something we've ever seen before, and it was fantastic.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, let's engage people for once. Let's do something interesting and engaging and bold. Those videos didn't fuck around. Some of them were way out of bounds.
Oh yeah.
I had marijuana use in presidential ads. Some of these videos were violent. I also clearly made it clear my view on intellectual property, that I don't even believe in it. Sure. So I just pulled that stuff off of YouTube and edited things together with songs. I mean, my photos are everywhere. I tell people I live that lifestyle. Yeah. Use my stuff for personal or commercial reasons. I don't want it to just sit on my hard drive. I hope something nice is done with it. Yeah. I spent energy on this, and I'd rather it not just go to waste. So that's my attitude, I think that more people should have that. But in any case, I broke as many rules as I possibly could, but I had a point to it all.
Yeah, and in the first video that you put out, one thing that I thought was very interesting. I mean, it's just pictures flashing by. I assume all pictures that you've taken.
Yes.
Yeah. So, which still awesome video, and it gets to a point. I saw Austin Peterson in the video for John McAfee, and he's wearing an I Stand With Rand shirt, which I thought was, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't catch it, but I did, and I thought it was a very interesting thing, because you would never see that in anybody else's campaign ad, like showing your opposition, the guy that you're running against, in a positive way, showing that, you know, this is more than just an election. This is a movement, and he's wearing a shirt for another guy who's technically running against you guys as well. So I thought that was awesome. Yeah.
Well, there was a few Easter eggs in there, and the point of that was just that it was a little bit snarky, because like he's running for president and he's like, I stand with Rand. Right. But I had no libertarian has ever emphasized Ron Paul and other figures in the movement outside the Libertarian Party. They're just rigid. We need to promote the party. We need more Libertarian Party options. And I'm like, I'm not going to mention the party ever in my ads. Sure. The party sucks. It's like less than miserable. It's just it sucks. So I didn't mention the party. I didn't even really talk about us. Those ads were ads for the movement and for the cause. Right. Not for the party and not for the candidates. We didn't talk about us in any of those ads. And the first one had all those. Well, the whole point was that first one was that we are constantly arguing with people and fighting with people to show them who's right, and sometimes we compete for who smashes truth into the other person's face. Yeah. And all of our messaging and videos are constantly like making a point or just reciting our top 3 policy positions into the camera or something like that. I was like, can we just make an ad for the movement? Right. Like, this might be a movement that you might want to be a part of. You might want to get involved in this. This is cool. That's all I was trying to do with that ad. Very simple. No one's ever done that. And it's not. And sure enough, I got so much heat and blowback from libertarians. Really? Upset. Where are your policy positions? And I'm like, I'm not making a spec sheet for other nerds. Right. If you want to know, go find out. Listen to the debates or look them up online. Like, the people who want to know will find them out one way or another. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I'm a libertarian. Like, the policy position was hammered in heavy in 3 words at the end. Let life live. Yeah. That's the policy position. We don't need to get into the minutia. It's not that relevant. People keep thinking it is. It's not, especially for a party that has no chance of winning. It's not relevant. Right. We got a message. Yeah. And so I really don't want to like have an ANCAP minarchist debate on these videos. It's not relevant. Yeah. So and the point of that video was just that was the first one that I did, and everybody was shocked that I was a VP candidate with McAfee. They're like, what the fuck? Just like, didn't make sense. So I had to do something that demonstrated what I'm bringing to the table. Yeah. And that was my best way of doing it, to show my photos of the scene and turn that into an ad for the movement. Focused on the youth. Like, there's a lot of older people in the movement. I'm not focused on them. There's a lot of like Midwest housewives out there that everybody's trying to get them to feel comfortable about libertarians. I'm not talking to them. I'm just talking to the youth. And hey, look at all this cool shit going on. You might want to actually get involved in this. And wouldn't that be cool if a campaign was promoting the movement instead of saying we're 2-term governors of our state? You know what I mean? Like.
It's a
like talking about ourselves.
it's a
I didn't want to talk
three-lane
about ourselves.
highway right up the middle.
Yeah.
So inspiring. Anyway, so you say that you basically say screw the Libertarian Party. Do you classify yourself as a libertarian, and are you a member of the Libertarian Party?
Oh, absolutely. I was a member of the California Libertarian Party since I was 16 in like 96. I signed the non-aggression pledge, which you had to do back then. And so I've been on and off with the party. I'm a hardcore libertarian. I'm heavily involved in the movement.
Sure.
But the party is a small, tiny little microcosm of the much larger, wider movement.
Yeah.
And the party, it's a place where a lot of people in the movement dip their toes in because they're interested in seeing what the political activism, like direct political activism is like, and then they get the fuck out because it's horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
So do you see any like future for the Libertarian Party, or like do you have ideas on where they need to go? Is it just complete overhaul, burn to the ground and start over and rebrand?
No, don't burn it to the ground. They got 50 state ballot access. That's valuable. Sure. The problem is, and I said this from the beginning when I announced my candidacy, to make it clear, I'm not trying to be a politician here.
Yeah.
I said that I've been flown all over the country and the world because of my camera, and for liberty-related events, they keep wanting me to shoot them. And I've seen the entire liberty movement, and I can say without any hesitation that the biggest sinkhole of time, energy, money, resources, and emotion is the Libertarian Party.
Sure.
Useless would be an improvement. The Libertarian Party is the cage match arena where libertarians fight with each other over positions of no power. Yeah. It's embarrassing. So that's what I opened my candidacy with. But I was like, there's a better way. But then recently, I was on the Tom Woods show, and I told him that I've been racking my brain what the value of the Libertarian Party is to the wider movement, because the truth is that it's so miserable for everyone involved. They're constantly just fighting with each other, right. And like that's just not how I want to spend my activism. It's terrible activism, and I'm not going to be a part of that. It's a waste of life. I'm not moving this world forward by fighting over bylaws. I'm not going to. Sure. But I figured out. Finally, I figured out what the value of the Libertarian Party is to the liberty movement. And it's not to win elections or to achieve anything at all. The Libertarian Party is the convenient quarantine pen for the most toxic elements in the liberty movement. It's a dog kennel. Yeah. You can't have the rabid dogs loose biting people. You got to put them somewhere. So the Libertarian Party is the place for angry libertarians who need a chew toy, and the chew toy is each other.
Sure. I like it.
So I wish I had something better to report, but at least like it has that function of the people that just want to fight, we could stick them there, and they, like everybody else, can start to spend their time speaking to a platform, presenting their message and trying to gather more people involved. And the Libertarian Party, they just want to fight with each other. So I don't want to interrupt their fun. I have plenty of things that I think that suggestions and recommendations to the Libertarian Party. Though I will never, ever run for chair or any sort of leadership position like that, because I can't imagine a worse hell of having to babysit all these miserable assholes. Right. If the chair of the Libertarian Party, Nick Sarwark, did half of what I recommend, then he would be removed within 48 hours. If I was the chair, I would be removed in about 24 hours if I last that long. Because the truth is, I would tell them what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. I would say it like it is. And that's not what they want to hear. Right. And another thing to go even further with what the problem is, what's the difference between the Libertarian Party and live action role playing? Well, the people that are dressing up in Dungeons and Dragons and Star Wars and Civil War reenactments, they know they're playing a game. We're getting dressed up as politicians with no chance of succeeding, and we don't realize that we're so if you don't know you're playing a game, then you're a delusional cult.
So that's a very good analogy, and that brings up another point that I wanted to ask you about. So, at the Libertarian National Convention, the only thing that anybody talked about was the fat guy who was giving his concession speech, and on a dare stripped his clothes off to music. I've heard so many libertarians just bashing on this guy and saying that you're making us look like complete fools and buffoons. I'm not sure if I think that, or if I think that this guy might be onto something. And
well, I know James Weeks. He's a friend of mine.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it is detrimental to the party, or it's just shaking things up, kind of like what you're doing?
Not to compare the two. Yeah, I just kind of don't care. I don't really think. I think that there's a positive for the attention that we got, even though it's negative attention. It's still attention. Yeah. Somebody's paying attention to libertarians now, even if they're laughing, they're paying attention, and maybe they'll hear some ideas. So I think that element is good. Fat guy stripping naked, I don't think that's the kind of messaging I want to put forward. It's
not ideal, but it's something.
But all of those guys that are saying that it's making us look terrible, all of those people that are furious and that are screaming about this, that it's ruining our image, those are the guys. Look at their faces. Those are the guys that are ruining our image, that are making us look terrible. Those are the ones that are so unpleasant and nasty, nobody wants to be around them. Those are the ones pushing everybody away. Me, I don't care, if he did that or not. Whatever. Somebody did a prank at the convention. I don't give a shit. But what I do care about is all that hostility coming from people as if James Week fucked up the whole Libertarian Party. No, these guys are. The problem isn't the leadership. The problem is the membership, specifically these guys. These guys that are trying to dominate the messaging. Right. What we need to do is the opposite of have a unified message, which is what everybody keeps saying. We need to be on a unified message. And I'm like, no, the opposite. We need hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of different voices out there communicating to hundreds of thousands of different demographics and groups and communities. We need to speak in many different ways to many different people. Otherwise, we're all going to just speak like the way that these guys that are really uptight and unpleasant prefer. I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna that has anything positive to add to anything. It's just a waste of life.
Yeah,
I think that's the death of us. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, my take was, I mean, it's dumb, yes, but I mean, it's funny. It's funny to me. Funny. And if there's something that's going to make people pay attention to, okay, let's take the Democratic convention and the Republican convention, all suits and ties, and everybody is looking pretty and being as fake as they possibly can be, which is pretty much what the Libertarian Party,
which is the Libertarian convention,
same too.
Except we had a male stripper.
Right. For me, it was which I'm not an official member of the party, and I was just kind of getting into it at the time, but I was kind of seems like a fun convention to go to. I'll be completely honest. I mean, just based off of that, I was like, oh, these people don't take themselves too seriously, whatever.
Did you see what I did? Did you see the parties that we put together?
Yes, I did, actually.
Yeah, I had these girls in stilts and stilt walkers with these wings, and they were avant-garde and fantasy fairy tale shit, walking around, and this acrobatic troupe bouncing around, doing flips around people. And I had, during McAfee's nomination speech, I had these girls on both sides of him in 9-foot high, tall costumes. They're standing on stools, but their dress goes all the way to the floor. And they're holding silk fans. They're doing the silk fan dance in these avant-garde costumes, they're oriental and shit. And it was just so different. Yeah. And I was like, this is the worst, most boring, stuffy environment that exists that I know of, is the Libertarian National Convention. And let's do something interesting. Right. Let's bring some life to it. So that's how I envisioned McAfee's nomination speech. He liked the idea, so I was like, cool, we're going to do it. Yeah. But after the nomination speech, there was a party where we had these silk.
Yeah, I saw some pictures from the party. I didn't see the actual speech. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I put that together.
Very cool. Yeah, stuff like that, just stupid, not your thing, but the stripper guy. Just dumb stuff that's what people are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, somebody needs to also appeal to like the bar crew jackasses that I really don't want to speak to. Like, I'm not a sports bar guy.
Sure.
I hate sports bars. But somebody needs to talk to them. It's not going to be me. Somebody needs to talk to feminists. It's not going to be me. Like, they hate every micro gesture that I make.
Right.
I'm not the guy for that. But I want to speak to different people than we've been speaking to. And that was my message from this campaign. Let's speak to not the Midwest housewives and the people that want to feel comfortable about politics who are never going to vote Libertarian. There's so many untapped groups. I want to speak to the artists, the Burning Man crew, the festival scene,
Absolutely.
tastemakers. I want to speak to cooler people that I respect.
Yep.
Let me speak to those people because I don't respect political junkies. I hate their sensibilities. Everybody hates their sensibilities. I'm not going to be bound by that. I'm not going to be handcuffed to their crappy sensibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you said you hated the idea of it. Do you have a future in politics at all? Like, would you, if you had the opportunity, would you hop on board with somebody like McAfee again?
Yeah, I'd probably do it with McAfee again, although I think I'm 90% sure he's not going to. Okay. I would do it again just because I have like 30 video ideas that I wanted to do. And I had such cool stuff that I wanted to do if we got in the general.
Yeah.
Oh man, we were going to ramp it up. We were going bold. There would be no way there wouldn't be attention on McAfee in the general because crazy stunts that I was going to pull.
Are you willing to share some of those?
Well, the basic idea was that we were going to create a lot of controversy and pour gasoline on all those fires and make something really beautiful for the media that they couldn't ignore.
Yeah.
That was the general idea. But on some of these things that I was going to do that was really wrong and completely inappropriate, there was also stuff that I had that was really beautiful messaging. And so everything that we were going to do had a point.
Yeah.
And
you can't say something like it was going to be really wrong and inappropriate and not give us a little bit of detail.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I want to save some of this for some other time.
If you're planning on using it, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to. But just know that like whatever you saw, which was obviously what you saw was inappropriate from a presidential campaign, was kind of like nothing compared to how inappropriate I was going to go. I was going way worse.
I wish we lived in that world.
You wouldn't have fucking believed it if like third-party candidate was actually doing what we were going to do.
Hey, Dan Smots here. I'm taking a second to interrupt myself talking to talk about myself because, I don't get paid a penny for the hours and hours that I put into creating this show for you guys in your greedy little ears, and I've got a family to feed. To make that happen, I run my own media business called Goulash Media. If you have a need in anything from video production to graphic design to audio production and beyond, you can get it all for a painfully fair price at Goulash Media. In video, I do weddings, music videos, commercials, pageants, plays, etc., etc., etc. For design, I do photo editing, album art, logos, branding, business cards, merchandise, you name it. For audio, I do engineering, production, editing, jingles, and, well, podcasts. So if you've got a media need of any kind, or if you'd just like to give a little something back and help keep my children fed, check out all the endless options at my website, goulashmedia.net. That's goulash, Goulash, media.net, where we cater to the little guy with the big vision. Okay.
Unfortunately, Trump made the presidential election and politics in general into a reality TV show. Right. And in that reality TV show, libertarians decided to put in their most boring, awkward nerd that nobody gives a damn about. And no one's excited. No one's interested in paying attention to. Yeah. And that's what we decided to do.
So let's talk about...
Because that's the safer option.
I don't want to talk about him too much, but we got to touch on Gary just a little bit. So Gary Johnson... I've heard you on several different podcasts discussing the issues in the Johnson-Weld campaign and some of the shady stuff that was going on there. I don't want to get too much into it because I know that you've exhausted the topic, and there are places that people can go and listen to it on Tom Woods and Lions of Liberty and stuff like that. But is there an update on that at all? For people who have looked into it, like where is that now? I know that you had the little debate thing going on with.
That was stupid. So basically, this is not something I'm ever going to let go.
Sure.
I saw dirty, shady shit going on in a presidential election. I was shocked at how corrupt and vicious it was behind the scenes. And I'm not going to keep harping on all the details, though the truth is, even if I talk on about this for 2 hours, I was living it for 2 months. There's a lot more detail I can always go into.
Right.
So I've never really exhausted the story. I've never even told the full entire story, which would be a very long thing. Mm-hmm. But it's not something I will ever just drop. I've never seen anything as vicious and nasty in the liberty movement as what I saw coming from the Gary Johnson campaign.
Yeah.
And it's just entirely not what I would expect from nice guy Gary persona, especially since I considered him a friend. I've held 2 fundraisers for him at my house. I've donated to the campaign. I've written articles for him. This was back in 2012, not 16. But I was an ally. I wrote a viral article in the Washington Times that did really well, encouraging people to ditch Mitt Romney for Gary Johnson as a show against establishment candidates. And so I was like, I was a really cool ally to them. They all considered me a friend. And then I guess a lot of people maybe felt I was a traitor when I jumped on with McAfee.
Sure.
So that's a possibility. But people are asking, what is going on behind the curtain in politics?
Right.
A lot of people talk about that. Well, the curtain is there because of market demand. People don't want to see what's going on behind the back in a butcher shop. It's for the same exact reason. Right. Because what's going on back there is vicious and nasty, or it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to see that. So when I talk about it, everybody's angry with me. I'm like, and then I get called a liar. I'm like, wow, nobody really wants to speak about, because if you're a politician, you're going to run in politics longer term, which I don't care about doing. I don't give a fuck about my political career. I can do say whatever I want. Yeah. But people that do realize very fast that the whole world of politics is like very hush hush. A lot of people, I've never in my life heard this many people tell me, I'm going to tell you this, but you didn't hear it from me. Right. So many people, so much information is passed that way. Everybody's very guarded and careful about what they say, how much do they say. And so for me to just talk openly about it means that I've just cut my access to a tremendous amount of information should I run in the future, because people will know I'm just saying what goes on. Here's an open diary on my Facebook page of what's happening. Mm-hmm. And that means that you're going to lose access, which everybody involved in politics knows you can't do. Right. You're not going to win elections if the important people aren't able to convey messages to you without you speaking about what's going on publicly. So the world of politics has to be private. And I just say, fuck it, I don't care about my political future, so I'll just say whatever I want. Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna shine a spotlight on the nasty stuff that I see. And all of a sudden, what's crazy is it's not just Republicans and Democrats that are supporting a lot of corruption. It's libertarians too. Mm-hmm. And it's libertarians too that are also just as delusional, which is why I don't even trust Libertarian Party voters to vote for things. I don't trust any voters, but to vote on decisions about my life. But I after this experience, I don't even have trust in voting for Libertarian Party members either. I think that they're just as delusional, if not more so. These are the guys that are rallying behind something. They're putting in a lot of energy that has no chance of actually winning, and they just want support for that. They just want cheerleading. And I'm like, guys, there's a problem. So I'm actually a commercial real estate broker. That's what I do. I sell buildings. And in a transaction, we're selling something. You have a property inspector, on a house, on an apartment building, on a warehouse. They come in and they find all the details wrong. They give you an inspection report. And I gave the Libertarian Party members a free inspection report that I didn't even charge for of what's wrong here. Right. And they were like furious with me for that. Furious, livid. Yeah. How could I dare do something like that? I'm like, guys, if you're disconnected from reality, then you don't have an ability to shape it.
absolutely.
We've got problems here.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
with all of your disenchantment with the Libertarian Party, I mean, you guys only needed 45 more votes to win the Libertarian nomination.
Yeah,
We,
which is about 4%, so it's not nothing. But yeah,
yeah.
if we had 45 more votes, we would have been in the middle of that shit with Hillary and Trump, and it would have been a totally different election.
Absolutely, which would have been amazing. So
I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I'm okay that we're not in the middle of that insanity.
Right.
But I wish I was. It would have been cool.
But would you recommend people like myself to, attend the LP convention and be a part of that? Do you want the Libertarian Party to get its shit together? Do you want people to go and make changes, vote for more people like McAfee, or do you think that it needs something completely different than what we're even offering?
Oh, it needs something completely different. I would love the Libertarian Party to not be useless. I'd like them to actually be useful. I'd like them to, but the usefulness isn't coming from winning elections because we don't have the numbers.
Sure.
So have you watched Game of Thrones?
Minimally.
Did you get through, I don't know, a couple seasons?
No.
Oh, okay.
Extremely minimally.
Well,
I'm not big into fantasy, but go ahead.
Basically, yeah, I'm not into fantasy genre either, but that show is fucking amazing.
Okay.
By far the best show ever done. And I thought Breaking Bad might have taken that title, but it's not even a close second. This is like
really. I'm still on
above.
Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's still my number one, but go ahead.
Breaking Bad was my number one. I'm going to guarantee you it's not going to be after you see this.
Okay.
And I'm not a fantasy fan at all.
Sure.
It's that good. Any case, so basically there's this huge 700-foot wall that's separating the north, like wildlings and crazy shit up there from the rest of the kingdoms, and the wildlings call themselves free people, but the people below the wall call them wildlings. And the thing is that scaling that 700-foot wall of ice to come over is like not feasible because it's being guarded and you're going to be taken out and just killed before you make it 1/10 of the way. So climbing that wall of ice is a suicide mission. However, there's a guy that was organizing people and getting like 1 million of them to like storm the wall. You can't kill them all. People are going to come over and then they're going to open up from the other side, overpower it. And that's the plan. And basically, that's how I view the Libertarian Party. All of these elections, having a Libertarian on the ballot, every single one of them, all those local races, all suicide missions. They're all useless.
Sure.
They can't achieve anything. And especially if we're trying to play it safe when we have nothing to lose when we're playing it safe. I can't think of anything more stupid.
Yeah.
No, what we need to be doing is not try to win elections because we can't. Those are suicide missions. But what we can do is gather. We can speak from a platform. We can communicate a message to people. We can connect. And we can get more people together so that one day the concept of electability becomes relevant to discuss. Right now, it's not relevant.
Sure.
And so long as we have a dual mandate of trying to get attention and interest and also being electable, then we're useless. Because that dual mandate of trying to be electable in an election we're not electable, we don't have any election chances, means that we're being distracted. And we're wasting our energy, we're burning resources, and then we're just fighting with each other over what's the most electable way. So what I really think we need to be doing is focus on using that platform to communicate our message. Stop playing it safe, be bold, be interesting, be exciting.
What do we have to lose at this point?
And we have nothing to lose. We are nothing. We are shit.
Yep.
Why are we playing it safe when we have nothing?
Right.
So that's my overarching point. That's what we should be doing. That's what I was trying to do with the campaign.
So what are your thoughts on, as far as being electable? I mean, Austin Peterson is now running as a Republican, which is the same thing that Ron Paul and Rand Paul did. Do you hold that against him? Do you think that he's doing the right thing because he's spreading the message in an electable sense? Or do you think that is the wrong move, as many libertarians seem to get outraged about?
No. I definitely don't hold it against him. I would hold it against him if he ran for Senate as a Libertarian Party member. I think that it's a great thing that he's able to reach more people with the message. Because the problem with the Libertarian Party is that far too many of them, almost all of them have become Libertarian Party activists, and they forgot about being liberty activists.
Right.
And I don't give a fuck about what party it comes from.
Yeah.
I care about communicating the message and being a liberty activist. And that too many people have lost sight of that. So, no, I think Austin is doing a great thing with that. Yeah, I mean, you could say he was a rival in the nomination, but he was always actually very cool with me. I've been friends with him for a long time, a number of years.
Sure.
I think I met him back in 2012. And he didn't. I thought I was going to get attacked by Austin when I came in the race,
right.
But he was being cool. It was Gary Johnson's campaign that was really vicious, and I was surprised. But for the most part, I couldn't get on board with Austin's. I like Austin a lot. In fact, I'll say this: nobody impressed me more. Nobody worked harder than Austin in the 2016 race.
Sure. From
any party. Nobody busted their ass more than him in any party, anywhere. He pushed himself. Nobody grew more as a person. He was so much different by the end of his campaign than from the beginning. From the beginning, it started off hokey, stupid, silly memes and stuff. And then he actually got good. And I was legitimately impressed with Austin.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't get on board with his stuff because it's like too hokey. Like, I liked Ninjas too when I was 11.
Right.
I can't get on board with this stuff. Some of the stuff he says is so grandiose that it sounds delusional to me.
Bumper
and
stickers.
I'm just like, that was what Kennedy said, but it was just like, I'll allow Gary Johnson to be my VP running mate, we're gonna hand the White House to the Libertarians and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's just like, it's too much nonsense. I can't get behind it. But I'm really impressed with his ability to gather people together. He's a far better speaker, public speaker, and communicator than I am.
Sure.
And there's a lot that is incredibly impressive with him, and I'm glad. Thank God he's not running for Senate as a Libertarian Party member. It would just be a waste of a campaign. Right. Maybe it still is, but at least I think he can get more attention this way. And cool, that's better.
Yeah.
To support that.
Absolutely. Well, I know you got to run here shortly, so I won't keep you too much longer, but I'm curious, for people, like I said, I haven't been interested in politics for all that long, but people who are, just now starting to dig into politics and who will be contributing to the outcome of future elections or future parties, do you have anything to say to them?
Yeah, fuck the rules. Play the game that you always wanted to play, which is fuck the rules.
Yeah.
Just ignore the way things are done. Nobody likes it. If you're not a fan of it, don't do it. The rules are dead. Be the badass. Be the badass that you want to be. And if people can focus on that, just the only thing that I cared about with all that marketing, messaging, videos, all that stuff was, if I was not me doing this, would I think that this is badass? That was it. No focus groups. Just, would I be a fan of this? Because I'm not a fan of any political messaging. Politics just sucks. It's miserable. And I'm like, can I do something that's not crap, that's not miserable, that's actually interesting, that's engaging? And I just pushed myself. McAfee, like, for instance, that first video with the photos, he really loved it.
Yeah.
And then I stepped it up to another level with that Vote Different ad, which was really pretty.
Yeah.
And McAfee, I had him read the Steve Jobs, Here's to the Crazy Ones, Apple, Think Different ad.
Yeah.
That poem. And he was sick, and I made him redo it like 6 times. And eventually, and then I was like, you know what, I want to do it one more time with you. I'll do it on Skype, and we'll go line by line. And he's like, no, Judd, listen, I'm tired. I've got a flu. Deal with what you got. I was like, that last take was the best, but I just want to really like perfect this. He's like, that's enough. You've got a good enough take. Go with what you got. I was like, okay. And then that whole ad materialized. Like, he had no idea I was going to do that.
Yeah.
In that way, and he loved it. He's like, that's the best political ad of all time. He had no idea I was going to go that far with it, and so I just pushed myself to do something like nothing anyone has ever seen.
Absolutely.
That was the point.
Yeah, honestly, that of all the ones you did, that's my favorite, and I would agree with McAfee. That's the best political ad I've ever seen. Just having him talk over it. I mean, he's got a narrator's voice to begin with, and the stuff is so brilliantly put together. So I applaud you on that.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
That was the first time I edited anything by myself. I've never used a video editing app before that.
Nice.
And so those other videos, like McAfee was always breathing down my neck. Like once I told him I'm working on a video, he's like on my case every day. Like, where's this video? So at the end, I just stopped telling him that I'm working on a video. We're working on other things. And then like the day before, I show him the video. This is the rough cut, and I'm going to finish it up tonight and we'll release it. And he just writes back 2 words, all caps. Yes. Like, that was kind of how I was going with McAfee. If you want, I'll tell you a funny story before we go.
Sure.
So McAfee, as I told you, was a little rough around the edges, and I told him that whole sophisticated savage thing. Yeah. And he let me hold the reins for the direction of the campaign. I was just kind of surprised that now I'm running the imaging and direction of the presidential campaign.
Yeah.
And so he posted this picture of himself with a shotgun in his underwear with his wife, also in her underwear, with a green screen behind him and her, telling people on Facebook to pick a different background for this image.
Yeah.
So I called him up and I said, that's not helping us with the delegates right now. He says, we got 1,000 shares of that within an hour. Look at all the likes we're getting, and people are posting their own versions of the images. I'm like, fucking McAfee, man. Yep. Look, I'm not asking you to delete anything. I will never ask you to delete anything. Yeah. But can you just please unpin it?
Right. Because
it's been up for 3 days, and that was like the first thing that everybody's been seeing for the last 3 days is him in his underwear with a shotgun and his wife in his own. I was like, can we, it's been 3 days. Can we have something else at the top? So,
crazy's great, but there might be a line somewhere. I'm not sure where it is.
Yeah. I was just desperately trying not to go hokey. I was going like balls to the wall. Yeah. We're not fucking around, but I just didn't want to go like kind of lame, retarded, silly,
Yep.
Anyway, that's McAfee. He really just didn't give a shit. But what was good about him is that he's a phenomenal communicator, far better than me. He's a great speaker. He's very dynamic, very engaging. Absolutely. And he's able to speak in a philosophical framework. And so I was like, he's a great guy for us to present to basic algebra students, or even less. These theoretical mathematicians aren't. That's where McAfee's role. He's just at the front of the assembly line to turn heads, get attention, and then send people down the assembly line to other people and voices in the scene to dive deeper down into the movement. That was the whole point of the campaign. And so I was really being very conscientious of the experience, where nobody else gave a shit about the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just watching him in the debates, it's just freaking brilliant orator when he needs to be, and then when he needs to take his 5 minutes and cut it down to one sentence just to throw it out there. It's just fantastic. So good.
He's thoroughly entertaining. I enjoyed it. I'm a fan. I hope one day to be half the maniac that McAfee is.
Absolutely. Well, Judd, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to promote, put out there?
Well, basically the best way to see what I'm up to is Facebook. I'm most active there. So facebook.com/Judd Weiss, JUDDWEISS. And I use that handle for everything. So I post a lot to Instagram, my photography. So it's Instagram/Judd Weiss, sure. Twitter/Judd Weiss. So yeah, you can find me on those social media is the best place.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks again. Anytime you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome, man. I really appreciate the stuff that you're doing and have done, and I hope to see more of it in the future.
Thanks a lot, Dan, for having me on. I enjoyed this.
Yep, no problem. You have a good one, man.
You too. See somebody.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed my discussion with the great Judd Weiss as much as I did. If you'd like to hear the second part of the discussion where Judd answers the questions that you asked in the TSID forum and tries to convince me to do drugs, again, you can go join the Downers Club right now for just $1 at tsidpod.com/support. And I've been trying to more regularly take questions from you guys to ask some of my guests on the show. If you're interested in submitting questions or just being a part of the group discussion, you can join our forum at tsidpod.com/forum. Also be sure to check out our merch at tsidpod.com/shop. Subscribe to and review the show on iTunes. Check us out on Facebook. You know how to find us. Twitter, same thing. The System is Down, TSIDpod, all of that. If you have any trouble, you can find all the links at the website or in the show notes. So thank you all for your ongoing support, and I will be back here same time, same place, next Monday morning with another fun, comfortable discussion for you. Until then, question everything and stay uncomfortable. Thanks. This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.